He said, "Imagine a box of unsolved mysteries gathering dust in a police evidence locker. Photographs of victims fading, detectives long retired, and families left with nothing but questions. For decades, these cases haunted the American consciousness like restless ghosts. The killers walked free. The victims were forgotten. But then, science began to whisper the answers the world thought would never come. A single strand of hair, a fleck of skin, a drop of blood, technology turned these fragments into voices from beyond the grave. Tonight, we journey into the shadows of unsolved crimes to see how technology finally dragged decades-old secrets into the light and how justice found its way through silence. The story begins with one of the most infamous criminals in American history, the Golden State Killer. Between 1974 and 1986, he terrorized California with more than 50 rapes and a dozen murders. For 40 years, he was a phantom. Detectives had DNA, but no name. That changed in 2018, when investigators tried something radical. They uploaded his DNA profile into a genealogy website. By tracing distant relatives and constructing sprawling family trees, they finally closed in on Joseph James D'Angelo, a former police officer living an unassuming life in the suburbs. He was arrested, and the case, once thought unsolvable, became a blueprint for solving hundreds more. This breakthrough lit a fire across the country. Forensic genealogy suddenly became the cutting edge of crime fighting. In Riverside County, California, the murder of 17-year-old Esther Gonzalez from 1979 was cracked in 2024. The suspect had died years earlier, but investigators gave the family the closure they had waited for over 4 decades. In Northern California, the private lab Othram helped identify the killer of Karen Persifield, murdered in 1976, using advanced DNA sequencing techniques that could work even on degraded samples. By 2025, the technique had already solved over 500 murders and rapes, making genealogy one of the most powerful weapons in the arsenal of justice. The cases kept coming. In Wisconsin, police solved a 50-year-old murder when they traced DNA through a family tree to an 84-year-old man still alive. He was arrested decades after the crime, proving that time was no longer a shield. In Maryland, the murder of high school student Pamela Conyers in 1970 baffled investigators for more than half a century. In 2025, genealogical DNA analysis gave her family the truth at last, even though the suspect had died in 2018. But not every mystery requires DNA alone. Sometimes technology works in unexpected ways. In Minnesota, a fisherman named Brody Locke was scanning the river with sonar in August 2025 when he picked up the ghostly outline of a car on the bottom of the Mississippi. Divers confirmed it was a 1963 Buick Electra, missing since 1967. Inside were human remains. Investigators used the vehicle's VIN number to connect it to Roy Ben, a man who had vanished nearly 60 years earlier. A simple fishing trip had turned sonar technology into the key that unlocked a decades-old